Good morning and welcome to Wake Up Real Estate on a Wednesday. I didn't stumble over my own words this morning, unlike the last 2 days. Welcome. We're happy you're here. Tanya, good morning. I'm logged in and ready for you, Josh and Ryan. Thank you for that. The sun is shining here as well. Good morning, Mike. We have, as we always do, lots of good stuff today. I'm going to spend some time going over my second Smoking Hot Deals email.
Smoking hot.
We're gonna go back and address a question that came up on yesterday's show from Lance Whipple. If you were starting over, where would you start? What platform would you focus on? What would you do? And even if you're not starting over, I would venture to say it's kind of like we start over every day, every week, every month in this industry, right? So you can choose to quote unquote start over anytime you like. And that's a question that Lance threw out at the end of yesterday's show, which there was lots of great stuff in that show. Go back and check that out. He threw that out at the end, and I can't stop thinking about it. So I want to talk about that today as well. And then we'll do our typical daily stuff here, post of the day. We'll talk a little bit about mortgages, throw in some shameless plugs at the end. Before we get to any of that, please do us a favor, and whatever platform you're watching on, subscribe, like, comment, and smash the bell. Smash the bell so you're notified of these live sessions and other content. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to address is we got a great comment asking for a follow-up on something that Ryan had thrown out last week that we were testing. So we'll spend at least a little bit of time on that, and then we may do a dedicated, little standalone answer to that one at some point. Please share with others in your office, in your brokerage, right? If you're like me, you're at EXP, you're in a national brokerage, you know other people in the brokerage, right? Or you have referral partners. Share the show with others in this crazy industry that we've all chosen to spend our lives invested in. Ryan, what's our question of the day?
Well, you mentioned Lance's question from yesterday, so I'm just curious, where do you spend more time? Where do your eyeballs hang out more, YouTube or Facebook these days?
I can't comment on the live. Well, I guess I could comment on the live.
Yeah.
But for me, it's YouTube. And I think it's that for you as well. Now, I strategically use Facebook. But, for example, I was working out this morning and in front of my big TV in the basement. And what I was watching was a YouTube video on that TV. Right. Yeah. So, and I guess actually the thing that would come up even second before Facebook for me is my podcast app.
Yeah.
YouTube, and I listen to a ton of podcasts, not just in this real estate space. Maybe we'll spend some time one day talking about the podcasts that we're listening to. Folks might find that interesting.
So guys,
some related to Facebook or real estate, but lots off as well.
Yeah, so let us know, YouTube or Facebook, and if you have a favorite podcast, throw that in the comments below. Again, we're asking for comments because it helps the algorithm.
Yeah, transparency.
Yep. So next, we'll hop right into the social post real quick, Josh.
Yeah.
Do you have any, or are you slacking on the social posts? I know you.
I'm going to tie that into the conversation around Lance's question.
Cool.
Because I did post one I posted a short last night, and I can reference that. I have been slacking on this style of post, quite honestly. It's just been a busy couple days to start the week. But I have been it's not that I haven't been posting anything. I haven't been posting sort of following this methodology.
I'm half kidding. You're a content machine. I see stuff all over the place. So Fixer Upper, I hardly know her. Just having a little fun with words there. Click. Again, we're doing the property list of the day, more or less. This is always a go-to for something to post. Just go find an interesting list of properties. In KV Core, that's just an option. Under options, you just choose Fixer Upper.
Yep.
In any area. So it's real quick to build. I set a registration for immediate on this one just to see what happens. And then this image right here is the MP4 file from the Canva template on the website. So just want to remind everybody, we have our images and video section that will grow and grow and grow. And I just grabbed this one and posted it with a link to Fixer Uppers.
Yeah, so and there's a standalone video on how you did that as well. If you want to make your own, just go to the channel, Wake Up Real Estate channel. There's a video, 6 or 7 minute video that Ryan had posted a few days ago on that. So definitely check that out. It's it's a subtle thing that's happening there, but it grabs your attention, right? And that's all you're trying to do is to get somebody to stop scrolling long enough to read what you're offering. And in this case, it's something, a little clever, right? Even the text itself is a little bit of a pattern interrupt. And people like looking at houses, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why HGTV is so popular. People want to look at real estate. And when you curate a list like that, you're doing some work for them. You make it easier to check some things out. And this is probably a whole standalone topic for another day, but there are so many different curated lists that you can create, whether it's in KV Core, right? It's easy in KV Core, but you can do it in your MLS. You can do it anywhere, like waterfront, yes or no, new construction, yes or no. Like,
start checking boxes.
Yeah, just play around with it, right? Here are all the new construction homes in this school district, right? You can layer these on and filter these in lots of different creative and unique ways. And every one is an opportunity to have a social post of the day. And also, like, if somebody opts in on that thing, they're interested on some level with that, right? So then you can congruently follow up with them. Hey, it looks like you were checking out new construction homes in Cumberland Valley. Are you only looking for a new construction home, or would you consider a resale property? Right?
Yep.
Like then your follow-up can naturally reflect back the thing that they already indicated that they were interested in through their behavior. So I love that.
And KV Core makes automating all that real easy. I mean, you could set a hashtag up and just automatically send the fixers every day to anybody who opts in. So
and those of you using other platforms, many of them do as well. We talk about KV Core a lot because both Ryan and I have it. Many of our listeners have it. A growing number of real estate professionals have access to it through their brokerage or whatever. But there are other ways you could do it as well. It's not the only way. We just reference it a lot because we use it a lot, and we know we have a lot of listeners that do as well. What's going on in the
mortgage world?
In the mortgage world.
Well,
I'll be honest, I had a book this morning.
Nobody liked what Uncle Jerome said to the Senate yesterday. I think he's talking more. So that spooked the markets, and the dollar went up. And look, we're up
over 7 on the 30-year fix. Over 7, 6.5 on the 30-year FHA. Even a 15 years, 6.48. Wow. Yeah. 6.5 on a jumbo.
Again, post this if you want to your socials or email it out. Let people know in your database that rates are going up. You can play this either way. Rates are going up, but they're relatively low. They might go higher. Now it's time to buy. So
there's several different ways you can spin it. Date the rate, buy the house. You can be negotiating with the seller to buy down the rate. You can use a 2-1 buy down or a 3-2-1 buy down, or even an ARM. Let's face it, many folks don't end up staying in their homes beyond what that initial locked arm or leg, use a leg. Many folks don't end up staying in the property. So when you have that conversation, they may already know they're only going to be in the home, or they're only planning to be in the home for 3 to 5 years. Well, if you know that, you can get a better and more competitive rate, and then have a competitive advantage over other potential buyers on that property, if it is a property that is in high demand, right? The other big takeaway, just globally speaking, is this means fewer buyers, or this is going to spook some buyers, which means less competition on the inventory that is out there, which means if you are working with clients that have a real need, that you can strategically put together opportunities for them, right? So it's just a matter of changing your mindset around what this means and finding the opportunity in this, right?
Josh, it's occurring to me, it might be cool for all of us to send an email once a week, maybe Mortgage Monday or something, where your email to your database is just dedicated around showing the rates and some commentary and featuring a program, maybe one of the non-QMs.
Or you include it in your weekly email newsletter, just a little blurb about what's going on. There are any number of ways that you could do that. It could be a blog post that you post on, I don't know, on Mondays or midweek or whatever that you include. There's any number of ways that you can do that, but it doesn't have to be complicated, right? You could even taking an idea from last Thursday, episode 19, when we talked about short form videos and green screening. You could take a screenshot of this, do a short form video content, a talking head, and just talking about where the rates are at, what that means, where there's opportunity in that. And, you know, you could then leverage that on multiple platforms and create some conversation opportunities around that, good or bad.
For sure.
So this is a great question, Tanya. How can we send mortgage rates and not get in trouble quoting, right? Something like that data is third-party data. And I would throw in a disclaimer like, you know, this is not a guarantee of rate. This is just looking at what's going on with rates, sort of universally speaking, or on a national level, right? To get a quote specifically for your scenario, we would need more information, blah, blah, blah. That actually becomes an opportunity to have a conversation with somebody who there is motivation, right? You can turn that into a reason why they should get in touch with you to find out what this means for you and your home buying scenario, whether you're buying your first home, your next home, or your next investment property, whatever it is, right? Now that's a great question. I wouldn't go specifically quoting XYZ, but all you're doing is referencing, it's like talking about the stock market, right? Like you're playing the role of reporter. You're playing the role of reporter in that sense.
And just say, here are the rates, according to mortgagenewsdaily.com.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So Tanya asked, can you give us a disclaimer? Here are the current rates according to mortgagenewsdaily.com. These numbers are going to vary greatly depending on your situation and scenario and which program or programs make the most sense for your home buying needs. But this just gives you a general idea of what's going on, with mortgage rates right now.
And I'd finish what you just said with if you'd like to know what creative or special financing programs or rates you might qualify for, reply to this email, something like that.
Yep, totally. What's next up on our checklist today? And if it's me, I apologize. I wasn't even.
I lost it. I lost the slides.
Oh boy, we're scrambling today.
Coffees for closers. I had tea this morning. My brain's not working. I think we're at this section. You had a few.
Okay, so the smoking hot deals of the week. I sent out my second weekly email. This one, I was busy yesterday. So here, I'm just giving you kind of the director's cut of how some of this came about. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, very cool. Giving you kind of the director's cut of how this came to be. So I picked out the smoking hot deals yesterday morning, early in the morning. I was just plugging around, searching around my MLS, and I made notes of the 4 that I was going to feature. I literally wrote down the address in here, and I found those in my MLS just by playing around with different filters. So looking at the area and areas that I cover, looking for properties that had been listed for 60 or more days, properties that had multiple price reductions or big price drops, and also trying to include a variety of properties because this is generally going to my entire buyer database, right? If this were more focused on only investors getting my smoking hot deals, then I would make them all investment properties. One of them was a investor sort of redevelopment type of property where it had been used as a business and it could be turned back into a multi-unit. One of them was a 4-bed, 2.5-bath, single-family colonial home in a great school district, right? That had multiple reductions. I had also shown that property, so I have firsthand knowledge of that property, and I know the situation of the seller. They are building a new home. They started too aggressively on price, and they've now backslid like 50 or 60,000 on it. And there were a couple of others. There was one that's an estate sale, right, which I found by just digging around in the MLS. And the other one was just a nice little ranch house that could be a great rental or great for a first-time home buyer or even someone looking to downsize. Anyway, so I put together that list of 4, and I was kicking around with Ryan, sending that email through a different platform versus KV Core. But honestly, I got busy. I already had the template in KV Core, and this is a great lesson. I think it was better for me to just get it out than to spend all day trying to figure out, how do I get these people here, whatever. And so that's where I landed. I wanted to just get it out. It literally ended up going out at 5:00 because that was, I had a little block of time where I could record a video and get the links up. So I'm going to show the email itself and then a few of the takeaways and why you should consider doing something like this in your business. But I've got to share my screen to do that, don't I? One second here. And if you're struggling with, you don't have KV Core or you don't have, a CRM or an email marketing platform, if you're struggling with that part of it, just reach out to us and we can give you some recommendations as to how to get started with that. Okay. Imperfect, right action. We'd rather you just get something going with this idea than to try and get it all perfectly aligned. And I'm living proof of that, right? I made the decision. I just want to get this out versus trying to, maybe make it more perfect or through a better way of sending the email. Okay. So the email format is simple. There's a video of me at the top where I am screen sharing and just briefly overviewing the properties. And then there are links from KV Core to those properties where they can get all of the photos up to the minute pricing. They can request a showing, etc. So this is it. Plain Jane email. The subject line was Ryan's Smoking Hot Deals of the Week. So the first name of the recipient, Smoking Hot Deals of the Week, and then I put the date, yesterday's date. This video, it's a talking head video, but it's screen record. So only the beginning is me full on screen, and then I minimize myself and I showed the screen of that.
And you recorded that in Core Video?
I recorded it with Core Video. If you don't have Core Video, use Loom. If you don't want to use that, you can use Screencast-O-Matic. I could have even recorded it on my phone. I could have pulled up the properties on my phone web browser and recorded it on my phone. Just find a way to do that. Or do it without the video, right? Like just do it, right? If you do it without the video, I would at least include a little blurb explaining why you're featuring that, right? Otherwise, it just sounds like you're just trying to make a sale, right? Like if there's logic behind why you're featuring these properties. None of these properties are my listings either. They're not mine. So the links to the listings and then some, I mentioned here, and I mentioned this in my video, we have several off MLS opportunities. Stealing Ryan's word there. If you'd like more info or to schedule a private VIP tour, just reply to this email or call or text me at this number. And then I've got this, I've been putting this in both times, which is just about some of the different and unique financing and funding programs. You don't have to do that. But if you want to, and you want to chat about how we can help you with that, when you have people asking, hey, what's this investor DSCR loan up to 85% LTV? That's where we can come in and help you with that. Okay. So that's the email itself. Now, in KV Core, if you're gonna execute on an idea like this or whatever platform you're going to do, there's that initial email, which I would describe as like a catalyst, right? It gets things started, but it alone, you shouldn't stop there, I guess is what I'm saying. Like if you're just waiting for the small percentage of people that actually are going to reach out and request a showing or ask for more information, you're missing out on the majority of the opportunity. Okay. So if you're using KV Core, and if you're not using KV Core, anything that you use is going to have some sort of dashboard or data that you can leverage, if you're executing on this idea. But specifically in KV Core, if I go to my dashboard and the activity feed, a lot of this activity, the email that I sent is the catalyst of. For example, Teresa literally looked at every one of the properties that I included in my Smoking Hot Deals list. These are the 4 properties. I can see that she looked at all of them. Okay. I can see actually Kenneth, this fella, he called me yesterday after getting my Smoking Hot Deals email. He called me yesterday afternoon while I was making dinner. Jerry looked at the Smoking Hot Deals list. These are all 4 of those properties. He looked at all 4.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So now I can follow up with them using the text script from yesterday that I shared. Go back and watch yesterday's show. It was Texting Tuesday. It was episode 22, episode 22. And I gave you a script that you can use when people are looking at properties to follow up with them. It's a super simple script. It's not nothing fancy, right? The other thing I can do in KV Core, which you may be able to do in whatever you're sending. So if you're sending email through Follow Up Boss, if you're sending emails through Lion Desk, if you're sending through like a typical email platform like Constant Contact or Get Response or whatever, you can look and find the people that opened the email or people that clicked the email. And in KV Core, if I go to email events under the activities, and it'll take a minute to load here. While that's loading, what I will say is this. If you're sending this to a large audience and you're getting a ton of people that open the email, then you're going to want to focus your energy on people that took the next action. Okay. Yeah. But if you're sending this out to 50 people and you can see that 10 of them opened the email, you might want to personally follow up with all 10 of those. It could be a personal video email. It could be a personal video text. It could just be a regular, text email or video email. And it could be as simple as, hey, did you get the email I sent yesterday with the smoking hot deals? Right? It could be anything you want. So I can see here, these are emails, and I can see that, let's see here. It'll tell me, email. So right up here, it'll say email opened, email opened, email opened. Now I have a ton of those, right? But I could focus on email opened and clicked maybe, right? Because Virginia opened my email and she clicked on something. Let's see here.
Little hack there, Josh. Just hit Control F in your browser and just type in clicked.
Look at that. So now I can see, it's really only 3 of them. Interesting.
Yeah.
Only 3. Well, that's of what is loaded up on the page here.
Yeah. It has a lazy load.
More. Right.
Yeah.
So here's the meta lesson from this.
Yeah.
Okay. The activity, the action that you take is just step 1 of the process. That is the catalyst that will drive the opportunities that you can then spend the rest of your week, or even the rest of your, not just the rest of this week, but I could spend from now until the next one that I send, following up and following through with the ones that are opening and clicking, because you're going to get a big spike of people that open and click when you first send it, but then you'll get people that either they missed it at first and they wanted to come back to it, or they were looking at it and they were at work, and then over the weekend they're like, hey, you know what? I wanted to go back and look at some of those, right? So, and it's the same idea with our Friday weekly email newsletter, which you can find in the community, under the community tab on our channel. You can find that. You can find information about that on the site, wakeup.realestate. But the approach to that is, it's an action that you take that is the catalyst or the thing that creates the activity feed for you to then follow up and follow through with people. When they come back and start searching properties, when they favorite properties, when they look at a property 5 times. Okay. David, you may have hopped on late. I talked about it early on. I spent about 15 to 20 minutes just looking in my MLS, doing some different filtering. I was looking for properties that had been listed for a little while, or properties. One of them was an estate. One of them has been listed for a while and has had, I think it's been reduced 50 or 60,000 versus when it was first listed, right? So it's just a matter of, it's market research, right? Just kind of slogging through there. I don't know if it'll be next week, but at some point I'm going to do a smoking hot deals just around new construction homes, because so many builders are reducing homes and offering special financing and so forth. And so that alone, I could feature a couple of quick move homes that have had reductions and have special financing.
Another good theme would be 1 week you could do motivated sellers, just search motivated in the MLS in the remarks, and for motivated seller hot deals.
And in Bright, and I'm assuming this is the case with most MLSs, you can also search by, I think it's sale type. And so you can look for probate, estate, auction, right? Like the standard is, at least in Bright, they just call it a standard sale, but you could search by that, which I didn't even do this week. That's not how I did it. I found the estate sale by just finding one that caught my eye. It had been listed for a while. It had multiple reductions. I clicked on it and I saw in the agent notes that it was an estate sale, right? So like, you just gotta, it's worth that 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes of work to create content. You're creating and sharing content that no one else in your market is. They may be blasting those properties out, but they don't have a reason for doing it. They're not explaining why this is on, why this property made your smoking hot deal list. So the fact that you're curating it and then sharing it. And then, yes, David. So what I did was I literally made notes of the properties. I was looking at my MLS. I wrote down the property addresses. Then I got the KV Core single property links for each of them. And that's what went in the email. Exactly. Now, if you can't do that, just use your MLS links. Like, find a way to do that. Find a way to do this. Don't find a way not to, right? Find the path to doing this and commit to doing it. You'll have more activity and more opportunities by doing it than by not. That's for sure.
Josh, I have, are you good on the Smoking Hot Deals?
Yes.
Okay. And you're lagging a little. I don't know if everybody can see that or just me.
No, I think there's something up with my internet because I'm getting a message from, let me switch something.
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll show my screen. This is new yesterday. I almost forgot to mention it here. Let's see. Thanks. We added AI to Thanks. I don't even know if I told you. So, and Josh might have dropped as he switches to the internet. But
I saw in the group. I saw in the group, but you didn't tell me.
Yeah. So you can basically type in kind of a human readable phrase right here, and it'll write all this. So this thing right here, I typed in, send a letter to a real estate client thanking them and asking them for a review. And the AI just wrote this. So thank you for trusting me with the sale-purchase property. It was a pleasure working with you. If you have a moment. So it does all the writing. You can tweak all this, of course, to make it sound more like you. And it just loads it up with the handwriting right here. So I know a lot of you guys are Thanks.io users, and definitely go check that out if you have time.
It looks like you've also upgraded the Scan Me around the QR code, which I did.
Yeah, we added the Scan Me and the branding image tool here. If you click Branding Builder, this kind of just makes itself. You just enter a few fields, and it makes a nice little image of you on it.
Yeah. So I want to share our mindset motivation thought for the day. And then I want to, and we're already going pretty long here, but I want to at least spend a couple of minutes, because I mentioned it at the beginning, digging into Lance's question. And this is something that'll probably be on some level, a recurring sort of conversation and theme on here. But I wanted to share, this is from Alex Hormozy. I've mentioned him a couple of times. I've kind of been binge watching and listening and reading all of everything he puts out, which is a lot. But this was in a presentation that I was watching, the YouTube video I was watching this morning while I was working out, right? Which was, the question at the beginning here. Your work works more on you than you work on it. No work is in vain. Your work works more on you than you work on it. No work is in vain. In other words, what you get from doing the work, you can't get without doing the work. Like, there's no way for you to get the experience without doing the work, right? And that work gives you feedback, good or bad, that you can work more efficiently and effectively the next time you do it. Case in point, Smoking Hot Deals. Last week, going 0 to 1 was the hardest one. Now, if I pivot to how I send it or some things, there may be another point in there where it's a little bit extra work. But I now have a framework that in a half an hour a week, I can replicate that. I've got a template. I've got a process for finding deals. I have a flow for how I record the video and pop it in there. And I've got a saved segment in my KV Core that I just, bang, gone. Half an hour or less every week. And that will spark activity every time I do it. Some weeks it'll be more activity than others, but that work will yield benefits. And if I keep doing that over and over and over, and I keep adding to that audience over and over and over, like, business will just find me. I don't have to chase it. So, anyway, I thought that was a good one. So Lance asked yesterday, Lance asked yesterday, and I wanted to figure out how can I bring up his comment. I did take a screenshot of it.
Oh, you did?
I'll just read it. He had posted this. This was towards the end of yesterday's session, and it was interesting foreshadowing, and a great topic. Lance said, if you were to start again, what would you start with? Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Please don't say TikTok. Okay. So here's why, like, that had me thinking. But then what made me think even more was my answer was not TikTok. Okay. And I'm not backing down from that, because there are rumors and it's things going on with that platform. It may get banned, whatever. Okay. But I literally got a call yesterday afternoon from a guy that was like, hey, I saw your videos on TikTok. Do you have any single family rentals in mechanics? I'm like,
that's
what the
great.
heck? So, however, I'm not suggesting that that's where you should start. Okay. But, and I don't even know that I don't want to answer these questions. What I want to do is play the, I want to make you think. I want to take a Socratic approach to this. That's a big word, right?
Ooh.
I want you to think about this for yourself. Okay. And I also want to say that I did start over at the end of 2019 because I hadn't been actively selling for 9 or 10 years. So I've personally experienced this, right? And I can tell you, this also leads back to a topic that we talked about yesterday, the day before, and Friday. The first several clients I got was through Facebook Marketplace. So if you want a very specific answer, that's how I got my first few clients. However, I think a better way to think about that question is this. What you want to try and build is, or grow, is attention and your audience. You want to try and capture attention in your marketplace and grow your audience. And specifically, your audience is your database. And we can think about that in the sort of old school way of, how many contacts are in your KV core. And that is incredibly important. You want to own your database and you want to grow your database. But there are other audiences that don't necessarily fall in that bucket, which are people that consume your content, but haven't yet ended up in your actual, physical
database.
or digital database.
Your digital sphere.
Exactly. Right. How you do that, there are lots of ways. It could be short form video content. It could be long form video content. It can be simply doing the social post of the day, but doing it every day consistently and adding to your database through that. It can
just friend requesting people and doing a social post a day. Make 3 new friends a day and social posts a day. That could be a roadmap for a whole business. Yep.
It could be blogging. Okay. It can be, there are lots of ways to it, but I think if you think about like the through the filter of, am I garnering attention with this in a good way? And am I building my audience with this? Then it's let's do it. Right. And is it something that I can and will consistently do? Right. Is it something is it an activity that fills me up or drains me? Right. And sometimes we have to do the things that drain us to get to a point where we can invest more into the things that fill me up and fill you up and excite you. And I think the other frame, and the note that I wrote to myself here as I was thinking this through this morning as well, is the method is more important than the media. Getting clear on the method that you're going to do, that what you're going to do to grow your attention or earn more attention. I think that's a better way of thinking about it. What are you going to do to earn attention in your marketplace that will allow you to grow your audience? The method is more important than the media, because once you get clear on the method that you're going to use, the media becomes evident. In other words, I post stuff to TikTok, but it's because I create content that I can post to TikTok. I don't create it only for TikTok. Like, I created a short video following the exact process I outlined last Thursday, episode 19, I think, on green screen video. It was about a mortgage program. It was less than 30 seconds. Okay. I posted it as an IG reel. I posted it as a Facebook reel. I posted it to my Google business listing. I posted it to TikTok. I posted it to LinkedIn and I don't know, somewhere else, maybe Twitter. I don't even remember at this point. And then my Facebook post I shared into local groups because it was a program specific or more catered to entrepreneurs, investors, and even retirees. So I shared it with investors. So the point is, get clear on your methods, and the media platforms that make the most sense are going to sort of arise from that. And then lastly, the consistency is going to be the critical component there, right? Like,
well, but the right answer is YouTube.
All of that said, it should probably be at least a piece of that. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, YouTube Short. I posted it as a YouTube Short as well. Right?
Yeah.
So, but you mentioned this also made me think of it yesterday. At some point, you mentioned, I think it was yesterday or the day before, like you could build your business solely around posting on LinkedIn.
You could.
Yeah. If you grow your audience of local folks on LinkedIn and you're posting interesting content around financing programs, properties, smoking hot deals, whatever, like you could use just that. Now, I don't think it's probably a one-legged stool, but
LinkedIn's probably a really good place to run the investor niche. If you really just want to work with business owners and focus on the investor message, it probably makes sense over there.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that was helpful. It wasn't necessarily a specific answer. What also happened for me is this is just so that I like to be transparent and authentic. So that guy calling me on TikTok made me think, a lot of these videos, I tell people to comment. I wonder if people are commenting on there because I wasn't checking that. And lo and behold, there were several people that had commented asking for more information about, for example, a mortgage program, and I hadn't replied to them. So I had to sort of put egg on my face and say, I did end up replying and said, hey, I'm so sorry. I missed this comment. I would be happy to chat with you. You can call or text me at this number or email me at this number, which also sparked me to message Ryan and Mike this morning and say, hey, what do we have as far as, or what options are there for like a universal inbox for people messaging on different platforms? Because I don't want to miss that stuff. Like if you're putting out the content, you got to make sure that you're like engaging with people, right? So if you ask a question of your friends on Facebook and you get a bunch of replies, like if you don't respond to those and engage with those, like what was the point of asking the question anyway? Right.
And that would be a good reason why you might just focus on one or two, just to keep things simple. You can get more of the message out, but if you focus on content creation on one channel and answering all the comments, it's probably a good place to start. You said something too that I think is important to highlight with the question, Lance's question. You should probably focus not on that question, but what is my niche and what is the strategy, as Josh said. So who are you going to serve? What type of property or what type of buyer or seller are you going to serve?
Once you get clear on that, the platforms and the methods become more evident. But they won't become more evident unless you do the work, right? You got to start working so the work can work on you so that you can make progress and figure out that as you go. So some great questions and comments here, and then we will wrap up here before too long. Mark says, I started over when I came to EXP about 2 years ago. Mark's part of my organization, right? And so that, but listen, I think, we have an opportunity to start over every day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year in real estate, right? And we always have the opportunity to pivot if it makes sense. What you don't want to do is constantly pivot because you're getting distracted or whatever. And the both of us are guilty of that as anybody in here, right? So that's that we're calling ourselves out as much as anybody else with that. Tanya asked, are you hashtagging those smoking hot deals? So that's not how I'm doing it, but I'm sending that to my entire buyer database. But if you were making this your own like self-contained niche, if you were literally starting from scratch, yeah, you would hashtag them whatever makes sense for you. Now, we talked about last week that I tried organic and paid to get people to opt in for my smoking hot deals. It didn't really work. But what I do know works is the recently price reduced homes. And even weaving in that language, hey, looking for a smoking hot deal here in Central PA, get a free weekly list. recently price reduced homes right here in the mid-state or whatever, and that naturally ties in. So you just have to sort of tag them and organize them in a way that makes sense for you, right? There's lots of right ways of doing that. What was the answer to the universal inbox? We don't have the answer yet. We're still exploring. There are some that kind of do it, and we're even Ryan's been playing around with a version that we might be able to make available to the Wake Up Real Estate community. But we don't know yet. We're not sure about the TikTok. That's the one that's not integrated. But there are. Yeah. So stay tuned on that. And Winifred, yes, it would also incorporate notifications. It's kind of an all-in-one idea. Someone wiser than me said, "Just do it." Yeah, absolutely. And then Paul says, you may schedule an event in your calendar maybe 2 to 3 times per day to check stats. Simple and easy, just a discipline. I would say just do it once a day or twice a day. Like I wouldn't, maybe you check in and you block time 8:30 to 9 every morning, and then 4 to 4:30 every afternoon to check in on your dashboard and follow up, because that, I'm telling you, that is where the gold is, right? That is absolutely where the gold is in executing the Smoking Hot Deals idea or our weekly email newsletter template on Fridays as well. Okay, Ryan, I think we've gone long enough unless you had any final notes for the group here.
No, but we are going to look into the social media thing because we need it for ourselves and for our local practices as well. So there's a few we're vetting, and we'll let you guys know on that. Yep.
So in closing here, I want to throw out some, as we try to do, some shameless plugs and bribes. Yeah. Number one, if you have someone, a client or potential client who has previously been turned down for a mortgage client, and they're thinking about, how can they reallocate equity, whatever, any sort of situations or scenarios like that, we would love the opportunity to chat with them and see if we can help them. And by helping them, also bring you a ready, willing, and able client. We're working on a flow and an intake process for that. But in the meantime, you can just email mike@growwithjosh.com, and I can schedule a time to chat, or we can explore that together. Number two, we'll switch the banners here at the bottom. Ryan has been mentioning and has been continuing to get some positive feedback and data from Expiromatic, which is an expired listings direct mail service that Thanks.io is the engine for. And you can go to expiromatic.com to check that out, see if your area is available, get pricing, things of that nature. And it's across the bottom if you don't know.
And I promised him I mentioned it. Ernest, who's watching, built this really cool thing. It's an AI listing description builder called Listing Describer. Ernest, do you mind dropping that comment? And I'll put it on the screen. I can't remember the URL. It's kind of early, but it's pretty cool. I know there's a nice handful of people starting to use it.
Right on. Love it.
If you want to plug that. If not, we'll get you a link to that tomorrow. That's something we'll probably talk a little bit more about.
As always, well, tomorrow's Tech Tip Thursday, and that's a piece of technology that could be helpful. So that's a perfect tie-in. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Please smash the bell to be notified of these new live sessions. If you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, please subscribe, rate, and review. If you have ideas, thoughts, questions, things that we can explore on here, or just answer, crowdsource answers, let us know. Yeah. Until next time, tomorrow, as I mentioned, is Tech Tip Thursday. Friday is Free Leads Friday. So we'll be talking about free lead generation strategies that you can leverage to create opportunities. We'd love to talk to you about your, if you have any mortgage scenarios or situations. And quite honestly, we've been talking with a lot of realtors about their own situations or scenarios, either on their existing residences and tapping into equity or buying investment properties. And we've got some incredible programs for the real estate community, whether you're 1099 or, whatever the situation may be. So very good. Thanks so much, Tanya, for the kind words, and everyone else. And we'll be back tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat station. See you then.
See you guys.